Regarded as one of the most elite special operations forces in the world, and nicknamed the Men with Green Faces by the Viet Cong due to the fear-inducing camouflage face paint worn by them during operations, the United States Navy SEALs are some of the most dangerous men on the planet. But why did one of the most well-funded commands have their men running through the jungles of Vietnam wearing blue jeans, Rolexes, and Soviet weaponry? The answer was more than just drip. But who exactly are the Navy SEALs, and what was their role during the Vietnam War? The SEALs are the U.S. Navy's primary special operations force and a component of the Naval Special Warfare Command. No ordinary man can become a SEAL, as their selection process follows them through an intense 24-week program called Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL Training, with Week 4 known as the Notorious Hell Week. Participants run on just 4 hours of sleep for the entire week, running more than 10 miles a day through the uneven sand of California and battling the harsh waters, leading to a completion rate as low as 15 to 30% per class. But that's just the start of a SEAL's life, as their total training time is over a year before they are combat ready. In January of 1962, 7 years into the Vietnam War, President John F. Kennedy determined that the Navy needed to develop the ability for unconventional warfare, leading to the creation of SEAL Teams 1 and 2, with their mission set on clandestine operations and guerrilla warfare. Just 4 years later, in 1966, SEAL Team 1 arrived in Vietnam, immediately conducting direct action missions, with each unit being assigned its own section of the country and operating independently of each other. Each team was also assigned a mobile support team, which was a small team specially trained to support their operations, with a focus on operating a variety of boats. Since the SEALs were a relatively new unit, their tactics and procedures were still being developed and were continuously evolving throughout the war. Essentially, they were making up the rules as they went along, leading to them developing a variety of new tactics, such as their famous hit-and-run ambushes and air assault tactics using Army and Navy helicopters. Along with their tactics, their gear also saw a large change throughout the war. Since they were given much more freedom, they did not have to abide by typical standard military loadouts, leading to each SEAL adopting their own personal kit. From experimenting with different rifles to rocking Rolexes on the battlefield, SEALs stood out from the crowd. But of all the possible choices for pants, why did they choose to wear standard Levi's jeans? When they were first deployed, the SEALs initially wore their standard issue camo pants, and also attempted to adopt black pajamas, similar to what the Viet Cong wore. But they quickly discovered, while fighting in the harsh jungle environment, that man was not their only enemy. The SEALs were constantly under siege by the creatures of the jungle. Leeches were a major concern, as after wading through the water, they would re-emerge covered in the bloodsuckers, leading to the discovery that if they wore pantyhose under their pants, the leeches were unable to bite through them. But the mosquitoes and other insects still posed a problem for their uniforms, until one SEAL decided to wear his personal Levi's jeans, and a solution was discovered. With a standard pair of Levi's jeans combined with pantyhose and an elastic band at the bottom, the ideal combat pants were created. Leeches were no longer a problem, and mosquitoes could not bite through the tightly woven denim. The jeans also dried much faster, were quieter when moving through the water, and mud and debris didn't stick to them like it did for the standard issue pants. Some SEALs would also customize their pants by sewing on extra pockets to carry crucial gear such as first aid kits and mosquito repellent. While not all SEALs chose to adopt the blue jeans, many did, leading to a debate over their choice, with many arguing that the dark blue color of the jeans was enough to warrant wearing them, as it is the ideal color for nighttime operations, which the majority of their ops were, and debates over a zipper or button fly, with the main trade-off being noise. But how did the SEALs acquire the jeans? Since they were not government issued, they had to acquire the jeans via their own private means, typically pre-deployment, or via the mail, with Levi's having no direct involvement with the military. But much cooler than pants was the SEALs' selection of weapons. Since they typically operated in small teams, when they came upon large groups of enemies or were setting up ambushes, they needed to make up for their smaller numbers by increasing firepower and reducing weight so they could stay mobile. This led to some SEALs choosing to cut the barrels down on their M60s to shed a few pounds, or completely ditching them in favor of the Stoner 63 for its increased rate of fire and reduced weight. In some cases, SEALs were spotted using cut-down RPDs taken from the enemy, which aided in concealing their position as the sound of gunfire matched the enemy. Throughout the war, more than 400 SEALs were deployed to Vietnam, maintaining an average presence of 120 SEALs in the country at any given time. Tragically, 48 SEALs made the ultimate sacrifice in the conflict, with the final loss occurring during the highly classified Operation ThunderHead. The operation aimed to rescue 2 U.S. airmen who had managed to escape from a POW prison in Hanoi. However, the mission encountered difficulties right from the start. Launched from the USS Greyback submarine, the team faced a series of challenges, including navigation errors and strong currents that veered them severely off course, prompting the SEALs to abort the mission just an hour into it. 2 days later, The plan was for the men to return to Greyback via a nighttime water drop from a helicopter. Upon reaching the submarine's anticipated location, they were unable to locate it. As they prepared to drop into the water, Lieutenant Dry advised the helicopter crew that they were flying too high, too fast, and against the wind. Being pressured to jump, the SEALs did, and upon impacting the water, Lieutenant Dry succumbed to severe trauma to the neck, tragically losing his life with 2 others also suffering injuries. Once the war was over and all of the information from every mission was collected, it was determined that the SEALs' unorthodox tactics led them to have a body count of over 2,000, with some saying that since the SEALs were so good at ambushes, the enemy had no chance.